So is self-service the future of retail? Now this question is not a new one. It's one we've been asking for years, but as technology has progressed, as we've seen the ability of technology to do functions that we never thought it could do before, the question has become more and more important, particularly for those who make a living in the retail space. Now, a little bit of background on me. I actually have a background. I come from retail. I've spent over a decade in retail and also grew up in and around it as well. So I have a special place in my heart for that environment, for the people in that environment. But let's talk about where the technology is and, more importantly, what consumers want. Because the technology may be capable. No one cares if consumers don't want the technology to help them. And according to a study that came out in 2018 by SOTI, and they are a company who does the technology side of this discussion, so bear that in mind. But according to this study, 66% of people were happy with self-serve, preferred self-serve actually. And 53% really preferred self-checkout. That's over half. Preferring self-checkout. Now, this did not extend to kiosks, right? So that idea of you can check a price or whatever, but then you interact with the human. Only 23% really liked that. They want the whole process, right? They want to get in, get out, and not talk to a human. And here I think is probably the scariest statistic for people who work in retail, is that 77% said they were very comfortable or somewhat comfortable in an environment in which there were no humans, in which it was all assisted technology and self-checkout. Now, I will say I am not one of that 77%. I always think it's important from a customer experience standpoint to have a human backstop, right? Technology fails. Technology doesn't work. It's always important to have a human there to back up. And there's a blog post on Customers That Stick. It's an old one. I wrote it years ago. Something like when the self-service needs the help. I don't know. We'll put a link in the bottom. I forgot the name of it. But point is, you should always have a backstop. And for me as a consumer, I always want that backstop. I want to go, hey, it's not working. I need help. So that's me personally. The younger generation may be more comfortable with just technology and not having that backstop. And it's very interesting to see 77% say they're okay with an Amazon Go type store. So the question, if you're in retail and you're designing experiences and you're looking at what the future of your store is going to be, is what do your consumers want? Because this is a general survey. It's not an industry survey. And each industry is going to be different. Do we want it in restaurants, but maybe not in home improvements? Right? It all depends on the context, and it all depends on what the demographics and the preferences of those people are. But the one thing I'll say about this study, and what's really important to remember, is that the numbers are really big now. A number of people that are getting comfortable with self-service, that want and prefer self-service, is now over half. And that's something to take note of, basically at the leadership level, if you're designing these experiences, and if you have a career in these industries. If you are working in retail, working in these industries where this may not be, the job you have now may not be around in 5 years. And you want to look at where this industry is heading and adapt yourself to that. Because one thing's for sure, somebody who's come up in this sort of space, it is changing, it's changing rapidly, and the technology is changing even faster than the consumer preferences. So when the consumer preference catches up, the tech is going to be there to meet it. Anyways, that is our question for today, and I will see you on the next video.